That's correct. That's correct. You're live streaming on Zoom onto YouTube. Hey, here we go. It is the TA report and Bags here with Jipaiza Gautam and the recently banned from Stock Twats JFDI. What did you do, Nick?
I was literally given, dude, if there is like the most faithful bull on stock twits, it has got to be Will. And I was literally giving him a bravo, like just referring to him as like the big swinging dick in the room. And all of a sudden I got like a notification saying that my language got me in trouble. So I wasn't like, yeah, it was a compliment. Like I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. I took I think my
it's not a ban, it's tomorrow. A timeout. You're recently timed out from Stock Twits. JFDI, yeah, there we go. I had to introduce you properly in the tweet that's going out right now, just so I'm clear to everybody who it is, because they might look for you, and it might be a different JFDI, right?
Is my thing? Is it like, I don't know? Is it frozen?
Is what frozen?
Like, is my account still active?
Oh, yeah, it's still active.
Okay,
it's still active. They haven't kicked you out yet, but you got a third strike, I hear. That's what the little birdies told me.
That's what
the little birdie said. You better be on your better behavior. All right, the tweet's out. Boom. The stock twat is out. I feel like I gotta have Tesla, Netflix, and Spy and QQQ all in the twat. There we go. I did it. Whatever. So hi, GP.
What's up?
Y'all couldn't see this earlier, but GP had this huge homemade pizza pie on his background image earlier. Made me really hungry. It was delicious looking. It was delicious looking, like some of the names in this market. Ta-da-da! See how I segued into that?
Yeah.
This is coming from Bearish Bags, of course, because these delicious names look too good to the downside to resist. Look at that QQQ rejecting right off that trend line there. Yummy. GP?
You think we are Bags? Do you think we the floor kind of drops out in the Qs?
Well, I mean, last week I said like we need to bust through that trend line, right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of wait and see till then. I'm not all bearish. I did make some moves over the past few sessions. I added to my Tesla position. I added to Sentinel One, which is up 5% today, which was awesome because every other thing in cybersecurity was going crazy.
Yeah.
And then today I sold some puts to open in a position to be revealed later. Right so on. I'm not fully bearish, but I'm cautious. Remember, I was like, I need to look at some things, but I think Tesla just looks phenomenal. And I mean, everybody in the brothers drawing this wedge that it's in here.
Yeah.
And it's either going to break up or break down. I feel like earnings is probably going to be the catalyst to do one of the two. And I'm sticking with my quarterly pick, which is better than the dog's YouTube check.
I know.
Jeez.
I know.
I didn't plan on starting this conversation with that, but Fastly and Wayfair just garbage right now.
Dude, I know. I'm so disappointed.
Anyway.
Yeah. Bro, I should have just told you to eat it and gone with my Lulu.
You should have.
I know. I'm disappointed in myself. But it is what it is. It's all good.
It is what it is.
I don't know. Maybe we get like
yeah, our friend Anchors Away was patting himself on the back a little bit for his 10% of Nike that's happened since he made the call in the chat. I don't know if Anchors is here.
Nike.
Nobody's here.
Push through the
What's going on? Nobody's watching. What's going on? Where is everyone? Randy's not here to set out the chairs and the hors d'oeuvres. That's all right. But yeah, anyway, Nick, I'm cautiously bullish. I'm not full of bearish bags.
I'm kind of with you. I thought last week was definitely kind of a warning shot. And if we saw some follow through to the downside, I would be much more nervous. But if we hold up kind of around here, I think that Thursday's high is obviously acting as both like a nice pivot for guys that are watching for the trend line that you're talking about break, as well as kind of a like almost on like a shorter term kind of swing pivot as well. For like, I think a lot of breakout traders are going to be watching that pivot.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of obvious formations in charts, right? And usually the obvious doesn't play out. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like when it's too obvious, it's kind of like a red flag to me. When everybody's talking about something and everybody's seeing the same thing, it gives me a little pause. GP, what say you?
I was asked not to be a wet blanket, so I'm probably going to be pretty quiet today.
Who asked you not to be a wet blanket?
The Thelonious.
Oh, Jason asked you not to be a wet blanket. Jason Yuri. I'm sorry for putting his full government out there. He's in our chat right now. Shout out to be a wet blanket, so. Jason. Thelonious stock twats. Anyway, go ahead, GP. Go ahead, GP. Are you have you retreated into your bear camp from 2 weeks?
No, it's more like indifference, right? Like it's okay, the Qs look like they're gonna break out and potentially tag 390. Maybe it's this week. After last week's decimation, everyone's getting bearish. But who the hell knows what's gonna participate, right? Like that's the bigger problem here is like okay, cool, the Qs are breaking out, but what is it going to be? NVIDIA and which combination of mega caps are going to be the reason the Qs break out, right? Today Apple sold for what reason? No one knows really, but Apple was red while Microsoft, Meta, and NVIDIA pushed up, right? From the beginning, and then Tesla and Netflix eventually joined too. But like, how can you, when you have some of these moves, right? Like Fastly, I was expecting, sorry, Nick, but Fastly, when you picked it, already had like 100% move. So it needed to pull in. Right?
Yeah. Sorry, Nick, but.
Yeah, like it was literally went from 8 to 22 in like 3 months. So for it to pull back here makes sense, right?
Sure.
And so like I was expecting a pullback, but I was not expecting the depth of the pullback in Fastly, in Wayfair, in Carvana. I can Redfin. I can go down the list of names that are just getting Square, PayPal, Shop,
CarMax,
CarMax, IoT, Roku, MDB. Literally, the list is forever and ever on the amount of damage that has been done over the last 2 or 3 months, while the Qs are still at 370. 370, right? Like, so your wet blanket is who the hell cares like what the Qs do at this point? Because if the other things aren't participating, it won't matter, right? Like unless your stock portfolio is entirely NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, hopefully not Netflix, because that Netflix 3 weeks tight and takes a 10% dump before earnings. Most likely will drop another 30% before earnings.
You went full Mike Wilson on us just now.
What's that?
it won't matter if there's nothing underneath. I mean, that's straight out of the Mike Wilson playbook.
No, the queues will continue to go up because these guys will still pile into all these names. But ultimately, if you're holding anything that is not those names, you're feeling tons of pain over the last 2 months, right? Like take a stock that's not shitty, like not Carvana or whatever, but
You don't like
Zoom,
MDB?
right? Zoom's pretty damn profitable. It is nonstop down, right? It looked like it was going to break out and then got rejected just straight down. Look at names like PODD, Exis, like you can, these are obliterated, right? Like this is 2-week move, 2-month move here, right? It's down $145, $50 here. So like, if you're in, I don't know, there's, like I said, it won't, like we can continue to rise and the queues can continue to go higher and higher, but there's a lot of names that have gotten just absolutely smoked. And on days like today, I would have expected to kind of outperform, right? To kind of catch up. It was like that nasty leg down to shake everyone out and then have some pretty insane moves. But we didn't even get that today, right? Like,
I mean, there was a couple shakes on the 5-minute candles. I was trading that. We
yeah,
did 20% together earlier today, so that was fun.
but that's right. The Qs went up to, it opened at 366, went straight to 370 at 10:30, and then did jack and shit from 10:30 to 4 p.m. except for random drops that would just come in as a basis around that 370 for like 10 to 15 candles and then drops, 10 to 15 candles and then drops. It's like, this is mind numbing in terms of the price action in general. It's perfect for what you're doing, Bags, which is early morning in and out. It's great, but
I did a lunchtime trade today.
yeah, same. Like those are the only times that seem to be working, right? The early morning and the lunchtime trades.
Yeah.
So, but outside of the trades, like if you're an investor, you're getting, if you're not an investor, you're just getting destroyed. And like, what's that?
I mean, yeah.
Chop.
It's not just chop. A 50% move down is not chop.
Well, in some of those names, like you look at Microsoft, right? Like it's not 50% down. I've got it on.
No. I'm not talking about the mega caps, but
Yeah.
Look at everything. Like even Shop, which is looked pretty good, just continues to die, right? Like now it looks like the bottom's about to fall off, right? It's just like, okay, so we could be in this decade long between ranges now, right? Now it's starting to kind of like,
What?
yeah, look at 2000 to 2013, 14.
Didn't somebody
right?
say like months ago that we could be in a lost decade? What?
Yeah, I believe I said it in May 2021.
I believe you did. I believe somebody else said it earlier this year and it got poo-pooed. It got poo-pooed.
But now you're starting to look at some of this stuff as like, okay, maybe the Qs can kind of grind higher or whatever, but a lot of these names are having some insane moves down. And granted, they've had insane moves up, but they also had insane move down last year, right? So,
I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. I think from an investor stand, I mean, I'm not really an investor per se, or I wouldn't classify myself as one, but I'd almost like, it's just kind of like one thing after another in terms of like from COVID to basically World War III to more war to more shit happening. It's like one thing after another. In considering the move that we had, I kind of agree with you though. Like just looking at, like, let's say the Qs, the thing that I liked about the action this year so far is that the rally, in my opinion, has been tradable. And so like the Qs could be range bound. Like we could easily be range bound from 260 to 400 for the next, however many years, as long as the rallies are tradable. I don't really give a shit what the Qs do. On individual names, like I kind of like, again, like my go-to, like I like the expensive stocks. Those are the ones I like to trade.
He likes the
And like
stocks.
MDB, like I think it's a beautiful, like I think it's gorgeous. Like I think it's setting up to break out of this kind of descending wedge. I think there are setups out there. I think it's just in these times where like the indices go sideways, whether we correct through time or price, whichever it may be, generally speaking, like that's when the majority of us, I say time and time again, like that's when the majority of us like get annihilated.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the sideways stuff doesn't bother me, right? We've
Yeah.
been long enough that sideways is not the issue, right? It's sideways in the indices while everything gets obliterated. When we've done sideways before, Nick, Bags,
Mhm.
it's not the destruction that's happening, the dispersion is what it's called, right? That's happening underneath. Like you're literally having 30, 20, 30, 40% moves in a couple of weeks down, right? Like, and like I've said for a long time, Netflix is one of your best kind of leading the market.
It is plain shitting the bed.
Yeah, and like it's down 125 points this last earnings. It's straight down 85 points since the CFO reiterated what was already said in the earnings. So in general, when Netflix has weakness after weakness after weakness, after like no buyers, nothing, there's no call buying. Actually, there was call buying today, but there like it was very similar in January 2022, right? Netflix went from 700 to 500 before earnings without any kind of news, right? Besides inflation is running hot. And it dropped 200 points, and then on earnings dropped another 100 points. So you're in a very similar category, but if you're looking at Netflix for the last 6 years, 360 today is where it was in 2017. You're already at lost 6 years or 7 years in this stock, and there's lots of these names, right? Lost 6 or 7 years in PayPal, lost 6 or 7 years in Square, lost 6 or 7 years in Roku, lost 6 or 7 years in Intel, right? Like it's
2022 definitely. I'm hard pressed to think that I could see kind of what Bags was saying, and like in terms of the Qs, like I could see the Qs, liking down 20, 30, 40 points from here. But looking like, I guess, kind of to your point, looking at like the individual names, like they have been 2022 did like an absolute number on everything.
Yeah,
so it's like
everyone's psyche.
Who's left to sell this shit? Like who? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but like even like so, I when you have such a big monetary shift, right? We've been talking about the monetary regime shift for almost 2 years now. It's a huge one. It's going from 15 years, nearly 20 years of 0% interest rates to getting paid on your cash. Like most people investing they're like, dude, I can get 5.5% from treasury bills. Why the hell would I put it into Wayfair, which just lost 50% in 3 weeks, right? Like, so you're starting to get people who are just going to be like, this makes no sense. At 6% compounded over the next 30 years will actually turn into about 8%, right? So that's pretty kind of risk-free money across the board. So you're getting people but it's even the profitable stocks that are getting destroyed. It's not just the unprofitable ones. So
what do you think?
The bearish episode of the TA report for October 16th, 2023. Thanks for joining.
Was 169 the level that we were talking about on gold, like way back when?
Gold.
I'll have to pull up the chart. Give me a second.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere.
No, I got 150.
150. Okay.
And then Friday's move on gold. What was that?
Yeah, I mean, what a monster. Like, I don't know. I threw on a starter in the XLE, I'll be honest. uh I'm not convinced it's ready to die yet.
Well, it's not dying. That's probably your best convincing, right? Like
Yeah.
it tried to die and then immediately got bought up. So
I filled up for 288 today.
You know, we're starting to I've seen like 30, 40 yeah, we're about 40 cents off we got a gallon too. We're at like 360. 280.
yeah, but gasoline has gotten destroyed, right? Like even though if you look at gasoline's down from 290 to 220, so nearly almost 30% in the last 2 months. So gasoline prices shouldn't be launching, in my opinion, anyway. But anything to make a buck. So that's why I wasn't speaking, because you didn't want me to speak.
Well, I want to trade what's moving, whether it's up or down. I don't really care.
Yeah, I think my mindset is now more along the lines of, yes, you can still find lots of trades. That's not what we're talking about here. At least for me, is that even if the Qs attempt to break out, what's going to participate, right? Like,
I mean, definitely Microsoft, Meta, all of the big cap names look great. Like, of course, bags pipe down, Clack, Broadcom, all the I don't know. I think they all look great. I think they all look set to run.
yes.
Short seller
that's
posted
just
big cup and handle here on the old SMH.
So maybe it's broad strokes lifts the entire market, but to me, it's like, yeah.
Well, the point that I like about that big cup and handle I just drew there on SMH is when semis lead, that's usually a bigger rally than just one sector lifting for a short time. So if that plays out, and it could, I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but it is a cup and handle. If that plays out, that could bring a positive catalyst for all of tech, just all of tech.
Yeah.
But what we were talking about last week, right? NVIDIA, this ominous head and shoulders, and it is a head and shoulders. It hasn't played out yet, but it is a head and shoulders. And if NVIDIA can get up into the 470s, it'll fight it off. 461 touch today was pretty big, but it couldn't follow through. It didn't push higher than that 461.50. So I'm still watching. If NVIDIA falls, all the chips are falling. I don't care what Clack and Broadcom are doing.
I agree.
So if that happens,
on the short side, NVIDIA and SMCI are my go-tos on the short side. If
NVIDIA was definitely a concern. It got to the 50% retrace of Friday's candle twice, and it got smoked on both.
Slapped down like a biatch.
So it's definitely a concern here for me. Is it looked good, but then it couldn't close above that 462 level as you were talking about, bags. Yep. It's the 50% retrace. There's a lot of stuff there, right? So I don't necessarily see the head and shoulders the way I would have liked to see the most volume on the head, not the left shoulder. But it's possible. It's possible, but you got to play the levels here on that one.
Anyway, all that's going to be for naught, though. All that's going to be for naught, though, if we see big up moves in Tesla and Netflix. And I'm not saying big up moves are going to happen. I do know it's seasonality from a earnings standpoint, a good time of the year for Netflix. Tesla, again, is entering that wedge, and it could go either way. But if both of those are up multi-percents and hold those gains through the week, I don't care what NVIDIA looks like right now. NVIDIA is going higher. I don't care what all these other tech stocks look like. They're going higher. That doesn't mean they're going multi% higher, but NVIDIA and Netflix alone, or sorry, Tesla and Netflix alone are enough to give the entire market some juice.
Yeah. The one thing that stood out
Tesla,
to me
NVIDIA.
over the last, like, I would say last 2 years or so, last year and a half, is that the bull market that we did have before 2020 always saw earnings run-ups, right? And so many names, no matter what they did the last quarter, they saw earnings run-ups. We stopped seeing that closer towards the end of 2020. Yeah, like October 2021, I think, actually.
Yeah.
So like about 2 years ago, we stopped seeing that, and we're in the heart of earnings season's about to start, and Netflix bounced $5 after losing $97. So like, and there's no buyers in sight, right? Like it's not like it got here, it got downgraded on Friday after losing $90, and it still couldn't reverse or go higher, right? So that tells you that what is prototypically a downgrade near the bottom is a reversal sign, right? But it saw no reversal. Ideally, it's trying to shake everyone out and finally
just to be clear, I'm not saying both of those go up multi%. I'm saying if they do. I already made it clear that I think Netflix looks like a giant turd right now. So I'm not predicting that either one. I am long Tesla, full disclosure, as you guys who listen to the pod know that. So I'm hopeful Tesla does, but you can hope in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up first. But from a technical aspect, it's in a wedge. It could go either way. But Netflix looks like shit. You can hope in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up first.
All right.
I think my hope hand would actually fill up better, but
anyway.
But yeah, Netflix looks like garbage, right? And when it looks like this much garbage going into earnings, it's most likely going to fall. If you're probability wise, when Netflix behaves like this going into earnings, it goes down further. It is one of the few mega cap stocks that hasn't filled the nasty gap downs from 2022, to be honest, as well. It got to 485 and stopped. So it was showing you weakness from not being able to fill that gap. Maybe it fills the gap on this earnings, but I'm not sure what would be the catalyst, because what are they going to say? Password crackdowns? Like, what else could they potentially say? So
we'll find out Wednesday after hours. That's the beauty, right?
But Tesla has a lot to say.
Guessing game and putting money where our mouth is, and we'll see how it all goes after hours on Wednesday.
Yep. But Tesla has a lot of, like, once the earnings are out of the way, it most likely kills a lot of premiums. In my opinion, this is kills a lot of premiums on earnings and then has its real move after earnings, because ultimately they have a lot of great catalysts coming up.
Because it's a cuck stock.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a cuck.
Oh, dude, but this is now a decade-long shareholder. It has been exactly this for so long. So
it's a cuck. It is a cuck. It's a cuckold.
Yeah. But when it does start to begin its expansion, you're what, in year 3 of sideways in Tesla? Is it year 3? The last one was 6 years.
Yeah. So December 2020, it was basically at the same levels.
Yep. So year 3 of sideways, 2014 to 2019 was all sideways as well. So it's got a lot of catalysts. It's got a lot of looking forward to. A lot of it's priced in potentially.
I mean, it's really going after that trend line. Damn. I didn't really have that.
It's the physical year trend line. It's the calendar year trend line.
I didn't really have that one drawn on my chart. I was kind of dialing it down.
Well, you should listen to this podcast that happens every Monday night at 8 o'clock, and you would have
I know.
seen that.
I know. I mean, I gotta tune in. Yeah.
All right. This has been GP was coming into this like, it's going to be one of those nights and blah blah blah. This has been a very invigorating conversation. I must say.
Anything sticking out to you like that?
To me,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if our friend Anchors is on here, but he's going to be really happy to hear that I've sold to open on Airbnb. So I like Airbnb, and if you take a step back and look at the chart, it also has a cup and handle formation. But if I don't get it, I don't get it, because that's why I sell to open. I collect a little premium, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I made some money for waiting. But yeah, that could be a.
What do you think of the? Oh, sorry, keep going. Interrupt.
No, that's all right. That's one thing I like. I also like Sentinel, cybersecurity in general. We've talked about cybersecurity for months, and it's finally broken out. Most of the names broke out last week.
Yeah.
Zscaler obviously broke out of its little range here. Crowd, it just keeps on chugging along. Palo Alto broke out of its range today. So, I mean, overall, cybersecurity looks really good. Now, that doesn't mean it can't turn down if the rest of the market turns down, but seeing what we have, and again, trading what the market gives us and not what we want it to be. Those are the names that I really like right now.
What do you think of like the defense, like Katos? Like, do you think this is like Lockheed Martin, stuff like that? Like, do you think this is a catalyst for like a sustained move in these names, or do you think it's just kind of like, I don't know, news to sell into?
I don't know, Nick. I don't usually play the defensive stocks. Defensive meaning military weaponry. Don't really play that a lot. I do think if there's a speaker of the House elected, obviously they're going to say we're going to give Israel a bunch of money, and a lot of that's going to go to defense. I would suppose. So that would be pretty good for those companies, I would think. Lockheed Martin obviously jumped on the onset of what happened in Gaza last week, and it's still up there. I mean, that's a pretty big move, 10% for this chart. You got to go back to October when it went up 16% to see similar move in recent history. So I don't know. Kratos, I think they do drones, right? So I don't think we're going to use less drones. So
Kratos is my newest position.
It's inexpensive at $17 a share.
Yeah, I threw it in my kind of lotto account.
There's not a ton of volume in the name. You guys know I like to trade things that are more liquid, but
sure.
Yeah, it's if you're betting on that as a catalyst, I'm not going to say, or I'm not going to, bet against you. It's not like CarMax that I'm actively trading puts on. So I don't know, GP.
I feel like LMT is exit liquidity to be personally.
Lockheed.
Yeah, there's a lot of distribution in the name.
Sure.
It's like the final kind of exit liquidity to get out while they can on war news, and then it goes lower further. But it's been in distribution mode for a while, so maybe it's not distribution. I don't know the other names. I don't really follow them. I think the interesting ones are Walmart.
Costco still looks great.
Costco is about to take out.
Costco is the shit.
Yeah.
We
This
call
thing is-
Costco back here, and again, that's just a wedge pattern, right? That's the same thing that Tesla's got going
No,
on.
no. That was a Head and Shoulders. Remember Head and Shoulders? Where's my Head and Shoulders Costco crew?
Oh yeah, way back here. There was
Yeah.
true. Sorry, GP.
No, that's fine. So Walmart looks pretty decent. You know what did not hold well?
Target.
McDonald's. It finally broke the channel that it kept bouncing off of.
Oof. Just ugly.
Who is Feed by Sheep?
I don't know, but he's in here with he's in here with
He's
the
on fire today.
He is. Welcome, Feed My Sheep. His channel on
Is that you, Freddie?
Freddie?
Freddie's a guy in
Oh.
my Discord.
Is Jesus Short Vid. That's his at on YouTube. Jesus Short Vid. Welcome. Give us a name you guys want us to look at. Andrew threw out CLH Celsius.
Snap had a good move today.
Yeah, they had a surprise. We're going to have more users than expected today on Snap. That was the news there.
Meta looks amazing, by the way.
Yeah, it does.
So strong.
Yeah.
It just, this looks like it's on tap for 353.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
So strong.
I mean,
Also,
I
AMD
almost
looks
argue
AMD looks like it's about to blast.
I know. My baby looks great. But again, if NVIDIA shits the bed, all semis are going to shit the bed.
Yeah, I was talking about Coin. Coin continues to do this. It has big move up, squeezes, and then spends the rest of the day selling off. So I have no idea what's going on with the stock.
Well, it went with the crypto news, the Bitcoin news this morning that actually happened to be not true. So that's what the catalyst for Coinbase was this morning.
I've never seen a stock trade on so much news.
I actually
Yeah,
I like Coinbase for a trade. I think it needs to get past this level right here, this like 78, but above that, I like it for a trade.
You know what looks good for a trade?
Cloudflare net looks
Disney?
incredible.
Disney.
I haven't looked at this in a while.
Oh, tax loss selling stock here.
Disney's got that little kind of, I'm going to bust through this 86 level look. Probably only gets to 87, but it's going to bust through 86.
Looks like
Well,
it could run some space up to the 90s.
I brought up net. It's a long-term holding of mine. I've been in it since the 20s. One of my biggest winners of all time. I think net looks phenomenal. It's along in the cybersecurity space. And when this range finally breaks out, it is going to go crazy. This is just pent up aggression in here. And,
yeah, TTD looks the same.
It's when it goes, it's going to go. But we're still waiting for Godot. Is he ever coming? I don't know.
But going back to what I was saying earlier, right? Like I thought it was tech stocks, and then you start looking more as like, look what they did to Home Depot, man. Like this is Home Depot of all.
Amgen, Randy, that looks fantastic.
Wow.
Home
right?
Depot.
That was 6 straight weeks down. Like no unabashed, just straight weeks down. Then you had Boeing, which we've talked about how crappy that stock is, but that was like 9 straight weeks down. And it's still red.
I didn't last on my bearish thesis long enough on Boeing, did I?
It basically, like a lot of these moves, right? If you're looking at a lot of these moves on a weekly basis, they kind of tried to pop up out of their base and then got immediately rejected. It's almost like mini versions of what they did at the end of 2022, right? Base popped up and then got smoked.
They're even killing.
Sorry, end of
Coca-Cola.
2021.
Look at Coca-Cola. I bet Buffett's buying more.
the food names are getting destroyed.
What's PepsiCo? Destroyed.
Look at Campbell, CBP. CPB. Woo!
Wow.
So I saw a note that went by as the hedge funds are insanely short all food names. Which
I mean,
makes
you
sense
know what?
if inflation, that's a bet that's saying that inflation is coming down, so they're not going to have as many profits, right?
Well, that, and if there's gonna, if harsher food and ingredient regulations come, there's so much fucking garbage in the food that we're getting that, like, I mean, you can just look at the ingredients on half this crap that they sell, you know, in other countries that they sell us. Yeah, both probably, I would imagine.
Yeah, but I'm not in the camp that the economy is in the shitter though, right? So I actually think the economy is doing pretty well. But these charts are sideways. They've been sideways for a long time, right? We had peak growth in 2020 and we're essentially sideways and down since then. They've literally murdered Etsy. No one's ever going to be an artist anymore selling anything. 150 straight to 66. Macy's absolutely destroyed after 22. Like literally, you can go through so many different names that are non-tech, and it's just beat down after beat down after beat down.
Charter looks all right.
Look at CVS.
Have you seen what is it? Yeah, Charter. Is that Comcast?
CMCSCA.
CHTR.
Charter.
Oh,
But
I thought
indices wise,
Charter and
XLC XLC looks the best, right? XLC is and it's 45%.
Yeah.
Google and Meta, right? But this one looks like it's about to blast off.
Who had
Your Duolingo,
TLF?
even after having an ugly bar on Fridays, you know, no follow through. It held up pretty well today, considering. I like the weekly way more than the daily, but
Then you have stocks like GFS, literally been sideways since it IPO'd.
Randy, do you still like GFS? You still long GFS? Randy, paging Randy.
They destroyed pets. Look at Chewy.
Our pets' heads are falling off. Somebody wanted crude futures, CLF. I mean, XLE looks better. We've known the oil's been under pressure a little bit. Yes, Randy is still in GFS. Randy, did you get an ARM too? I want to get some ARM, but I'm not ready to pull the trigger on any ARM.
How's our cart doing? Not so well.
Cart? Instacart? Maple Bear Incorporated? What?
That's the name of their
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody wanted that shit for $40. Randy is not in ARM. What's the China's doing? I haven't paid attention to the China's.
So just skip them.
Skip them?
Yeah, they're literally going nowhere.
Really?
Look at Baba.
Really?
Nettie's looks great.
I don't know.
Futu looks the best.
I don't know. I think they might be turning. I mean, I might be willing to do a trade. I'm in Neo calls for 2025.
Yeah, so you got time. But right now they're not doing anything. Futu is the one that looks the best.
Yeah, Futu does look good.
I think that I think that Neo might do something. Futu Holdings.
Yeah, I like Futu and Nutties. Kind of the two that I like.
Jason likes the Drunken Kings.
It's been holding up damn well.
It has.
It has been.
It really has.
Its
That's
sister,
a wedge.
its
That's a
sister
wedge.
pen has not been.
No, it looks bad. You know, I was thinking about every time I pull up Oxy to take a look at it, I always think back to Davey Day Trader just talking shit about Buffett. And then I pull up the pen chart and I'm just like, wow. How many bros got absolutely wrecked trying to YOLO pen entertainment?
Well, they did good if they got out.
If they sold into if they sold into
If they were buying up here, then they're fucked. But yeah, they did good if they got out.
Yeah.
Because when that happened, that was like right over here somewhere. So that was like 20 some dollars a share.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened. And then that happened. So yeah, if anybody got in before that Barstool announcement and stayed and got out, then they did really well. Randy, Gravy. I forgot all about Gravy.
Oh, I dig it.
It looked better a few weeks ago, Randy, but it doesn't look bad.
I like small caps here.
Really? Now, please go on.
So we have had what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attempts at breaking the breakaway gap. We have not broken, and in each one of those attempts, it's minimal, but it's been it's a higher low.
Yeah.
And so it's also lower highs, right? So I like how it's holding together here, and the volume is kind of slowing down too. So I like the risk to reward here, right? So you have, well, when I took it on Friday, it was down like 40 cents or up to like the 183 kind of area, if not higher, right? Depending on your time frame. But I like it here. I'm a big fan of the inverted hammer candle patterns on the weeklies. Those are usually solid trades.
Are you currently in a trade?
Yes. I got long on Friday.
Warren Lackey Louie says it's a trap. It's going to break.
And why didn't it break last week? Like every opportunity to break. And now that so far we did not break the prior week's low last week, and this week we opened above the entire body of last week, and we're already into the wick. So as of now, it looks pretty good, and if it fails, it fails. That's trading, buddy.
Yeah, that's trading. I like the daily right now more than I like the weekly currently, because you got all those moving averages overhead and you're pushed above the 9 today. So I don't hate the idea, GP. I don't hate the idea.
We also have to remember mine was $3 ago. So
yeah, for sure. I don't hate the idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some long-term options on this one, maybe.
Yeah, it's going to need time. I'm not saying it's going to be all smooth here, but I would have expected it to break last week, and it just didn't. Again and again and again. You could say the same for XLF as well, right? It was makes sense because XLF is a big part of IWM. But
Andrew and Warren are both like, it's a trap. They're gonna get you.
Let's see.
You can bet a penny to share on it.
No, it's just we'll be able to talk shit next week.
Oh, he's saying next week, boys. Gotta tune in next week now. We've
That's
got a
right.
challenge. She's thrown down the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Hey, Dub C, Anchors, are you still there?
I think so.
Can't see who's in here with us. Only when they're chatting. They're laughing at you and watching you, GP, on the IWM. Or there's participants.
Yeah, it's okay. I believe I'm already up 100% on the call. So
Whoa, snap. He don't care. He just wants that money in the bank. All right, so I told you something I like, or several things I like. GP already hit us with the IWM trade. Nick, what's going on? What do you got that you're super into, super groovy, baby?
Patos is my newest position. Again, I got quite a bit of dry powder. I'm looking to put to work. So I'm kind of thinking that this earnings season, I think, again, Meta, Microsoft, probably my favorites. Tesla, of course, Clack and Broadcom are the other two, and then on top of that, ZS and Crowd.
Did
I'm
you?
surprised you don't have Regeneron on your name. It's one of those expensive names.
No, I've been watching it. And same thing with VRTX. I've just I feel like anytime I start to get involved in VRTX, I just get chopped to pieces. And it's like
Welcome to bio.
Yeah, right. So if the IBB and the XBI were at least trending in some capacity, I think I'd be more inclined to get involved in those names. But yeah, once I get kind of sick of a name, it's like, well, I can't throw any more money at it.
Wacky Louie saying BA is getting ready to bounce. Put some bounce to the ounce. Let's go back to XBI though. I mean, that just looks horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's under the 200-day moving average. That's all I really need to say. That's all I really need to say about it. Under the 200-day, under the 50-day.
204-hour. It's under every 200 under the sun.
I like how the energy names are setting up, but again, I don't mind saying that I'm probably the world's worst energy or commodities trader. Gush.
VRT, get you some gush.
Yeah.
VRT, Vertiv. Wow.
Yeah, VRT. Yeah.
That's a big move. CFLT. I don't know what that is. Confluent. Somebody mentioned, I saw this chart at one point. This looks familiar. Somebody said something about this at some point. Was that you, Randy? Let's see. See if I charted that at some point. Jason probably had me chart it maybe one time. I don't know. It just sounds familiar. No, maybe not. Okay, moving on. Randy did. I knew somebody asked me to look at it one time. What is Confluent? What do they do? Probably asked the same thing. Package software.
Cloud-based platform.
Designs and develops a real-time data platform for organizations. Interesting. I pulled up the Dixie earlier. Anchors said, look at that head and shoulders on the 1 hour. That's the 4 hour. That's not head and shoulders on the 1 hour. I don't know. It's holding where it should hold right now. So I'm not going to call on Dixie's demise just yet, but it does look a little weaker than it has.
Yeah, I'd say whatever was it, Friday's bar? Oh wait, Thursday's bar. If Thursday's bar, the low of Thursday's bar gets taken out, I'd consider then this kind of a lower high. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Back into the range.
for sure. But that could happen overnight, you know. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not saying it will, but like a Dixie drop could happen. What is that? That's less than 1%. Yeah. That could happen. For sure. All right, guys. Well, I don't know if you guys got anything else you want to go over, but I think tonight was a very engaging and spirited pod.
Yeah, I think the 4 hour on the NQs is about to get the 5200 cross, so you might experience a little bit down here, and then we should probably continue up. This should in general be a fairly bullish week with UpX and stuff like that, but the overhead there's not a lot of puts on a lot of names, but there's a ton of calls that were sold, so it's some interesting structure and flow at the back end, right? Like if you're looking at AMD or something like that, there's literally like 20-30,000 calls at every $5 increment strike all the way up to 140, and it's kind of nuts, right? So maybe it's next week, but it should be a fairly decent week, or at least kind of mild. I don't expect any big moves
Too crazy.
down.
Nothing cuckoo
It's
crazy.
Meta and is it Microsoft? Do they report next week?
Yeah,
Microsoft
Chris.
is in 8 days. Meta is in 9 days.
yep.
How's everyone feeling about energy? Randy, I think if you joined the podcast in time tonight, you would have heard that we still hate it, but it looks like it's probably going higher.
Well,
actually,
it's just not
Nick
crashing,
loves
right?
it. Nick loves it. Nick said get you some gush.
Yeah, I think energy looks. I think a lot of the names are looking good. They popped back hard.
They have popped back hard for sure.
Probably Oxy or Fang the most. Fang's probably my favorite of the energy names.
Fang, the real Diamondback energy, or the real Fang Diamondback energy. Wow, that's all the way back at all-time highs.
Yeah. I was thinking that could probably push towards 200 if XLE actually breaks out. I mean, God, if XLE breaks out of this range. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get involved. I'm gonna head your way.
Andrew is still long Slumberjay
I like SLB. Yeah.
and KOS Cosmos. What's the OIH doing? Just hanging in there with the head and shoulders. Just hanging out. Dang looks good. What's dang? No, I think he's just saying, dang, it looks good. OIH. Let's see how OIH pulls out of this. If it breaks back above 350, we'll call it 353. I think it's all right. Fang, yes, Fang. Yes, Fang looks great. It has run very hard. VLO with their super dividend doesn't look great. They report 9 days. Why does VLO not look great?
Kind of like the monthly, but I don't like the daily. Weekly is.
Weekly, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if I was gonna get involved, I'd use last week's high as my pivot and my risk.
Marathon looks really good.
What's CV or what is that one?
MRO.
MRO.
You know, one of the small cap indices that looks decent is IWO.
IWO, yes, the growth. You think it
It's
looks
slightly better looking than IWM. It actually made a higher high and continues to make higher lows.
DVN with some takeout rumors of Diamondback, Andrew?
I think PXD is getting bought out by Exxon.
They are.
Hmm.
Yep,
What I saw today.
that is going to happen. I think they floated that Thursday or Friday last week.
There's a Friday. Okay.
Yeah, it would have been Thursday. Hang on. Whatever day we saw a big jump last Friday. So it's been a week.
House looks good too.
Or was it? I don't remember when it was.
I'm with you, Randy.
I don't remember when it was. Last chance, last call. Hit us with a chart. We got to talk about Bitcoin for a second, don't we?
Sure.
Like, I mean, that was a big pop today on some BS news, right up to 30. To me, that was an exit liquidity event, GP.
Yeah.
I laughed when I saw that. I said, LOLOLOLOLOL. I'm still positive on the Bitcoin side. And that was a nice move to get us up over some moving averages. We have crossed the monthly moving average, which if you guys remember on our pod with Cookie, he's like, I'm not even bothering until it gets back above the 9. So it's back above the 9 monthly. Will it hold there? We'll see. But as we've said in the past, if Bitcoin is going crazy, we know it's a risk on environment, correct?
Correct.
So worth keeping an eye on. I don't know if you guys have a hot take.
Going nowhere, right? Like, what's there to do? It's just sideways and more
Yeah.
sideways. So
Yeah, it didn't even take out the range highs yet. So worth bringing up though. Keep an eye on it.
when it starts moving, we can actually start talking about it, but it's literally gone nowhere. Even on gold's monster move on Friday, you would expect Bitcoin to kind of become somewhat of a safe hedge for some people, but even that couldn't muster it up.
Didn't do it, did it?
Nope.
What do you think of Palantir?
Still looks pretty good.
I think that's another defensive name that you were speaking about. And I would probably play this over the LMTs of the world.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally. I agree.
But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. It beat off that head and shoulders pattern that it had going on. And again, false moves become fast moves, right?
Yeah.
Yep. It's holding up better than the other names, that's for sure.
For sure.
Like, how's SoFi doing?
It had a good day today. It's very, I mean, look at the chart. It's very similar to that one, right? If we just go back, Palantir looks very similar.
Yep.
So there's a lot of this going on right now, this pattern right here. So we'll see. I think SoFi's problems is not Palantir's problems, obviously, since Palantir is a defense contractor to some degree, and SoFi is a financial institution and technology service. So two completely different things, but there's a lot of that pattern.
But they've been trading like kind of as together trades for a while now, right?
Well, they were that even though Palantir wasn't a SPAC, they all came about around that same time and were very popular.
Okay.
Palantir was a direct listing, right?
Believe so.
Yes, Andrew. PayPal or SoFi looks better than PayPal and Square. Absolutely, 1000%. I don't know, and we've discussed this in the past. I don't know how some of these are going to survive in the end when you've got MasterCard and Visa and the big banks doing payment processors. SoFi at least differentiates itself as not just a peer-to-peer, but also as a financial platform. So yeah, I don't know how the payment services bunch.
Can we call that 3 weeks tight on Square?
Can we? I believe 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the Netflix 3 weeks tight resulted in a 10% move down. So
Or, I mean, really 5 weeks, right? So you got the close here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Or would you call that 4, Nick?
no, because the close was 44.71. It's got to be a 1 to 2.5% range, I think,
Percent range, yeah.
or 1 to 3% range. So
I mean, I use the term pretty loosely.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's get real technical about what a tide is. It's not like we're measuring one huge ass bar to another.
so you'll get your 10% move up, and then it'll die 30% the week after. So Square just there's no accumulation, right? Like there's
Yeah.
no one even buying down here, and it's like, what is going on? PayPal, same thing. I put up the chart, I think on Friday, and someone who follows me got upset by I was like, I don't have a position. I'm just like, it's so bad. Like it's never, and I was trying to save people, right? People were like, oh, it's gonna bottom. I was like,
Don't bet on it.
what's that?
Don't bet on it bottoming.
Well, without volume, there's no way this bottoms, right? Like you're gonna have to see, you're gonna see a monster volume bar when it bottoms, fully retrace that monster volume bar, and then base.
And investments and free clicks. When you're ready to begin.
Whoa, I got ads playing in the background. All right, gents. We ran a little bit over, but appreciate your time as always. It was a good show. Good job. Air high five across the board. 1, 2. Good job, guys. Both got a high five. Fist bump it out. Fist bumps you both. 1, 2. There we go. Thanks as always to everyone for joining. Thanks for all your likes, comments, and subscribe. Please continue to do that. We appreciate it. And we'll be back next Monday at 8 p.m. to talk shit to each other. And we might talk about the market here and there. But you'll have to tune in and find out.